Sports and Mascarenas. Michael Stone with you always. Well, not always, but most of the time on these Sunday mornings, as we have a lot to get into this morning. Matt, how are you on a non-windy, non-foggy, one of those just perfect? I feel like, Matt, this you would call a perfect golf Sunday.
Yes, this is a great golf Sunday. Like you said, there's no breeze, there's no wind. There might be a little breeze, but there's no like consistent gusts like there has been. And it's not wet. It's the sun's out. Yeah, I would love to be out playing golf today, but I will be out later this afternoon. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, he could have been worse. He could have been like Scotty Scheffler and been thrown in jail.
I could have been in a cop car, and then I know a buddy of mine who got arrested the night before, got out of jail, and showed up to the tee time that we had the next day and shot par. So I've seen it with my own eyes, not in this like that scale of things, because the biggest thing about this whole deal is we got to remember somebody died on that whole situation, so that sucks. But the Scotty Scheffler and the police stuff has been fairly entertaining, if I may say so. I'm sure everybody else is enjoying the entertainment side of that as I am.
Yeah, so again, we got a lot to get into. Let's get this out of the way. Make sure, if you're not already following us on all the socials and stuff like that, make sure you go to X, follow us at 5280 Sports Radio, at Matt Mascarenas1, at Michael Spillin. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It's the same as the Twitter name, at 5280 Sports Radio. When shows are live, you can always leave a comment or text us 720-375-2341. And this and most of the pods on the network are brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards. They got a lot going down in the Springs. If you are in Colorado, make sure you go down there and check them out. Go to Facebook, like us on there as well. And a lot of, almost game sevens galore we had going on. The Dallas Mavericks take care of the number one seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. And if I may say so, I X'd this, I guess I X'd this out last night, Matt. And I said MVPs don't lose to 5 seeds in the second round of the playoffs, by the way, Shaq, if you're listening. And so about 2/4 of the NBA conference finals are set. We are waiting for 2 game sevens today. And it's just what the NBA wanted. It's just what ESPN wanted, Matt. That's why I am almost confident, and I hate saying this, I am almost confident that huge blowout loss by the Nuggets on Wednesday, was set up. It was rigged. It was fixed. I am 100% convinced it was all set up, not only because of what happened during the game, and Jokic's first 5 shots were threes. He hates shooting threes. He was 0 for 5 to start the game from threes, but because one of the first commercials they ran, I don't know if you heard about it, everyone was talking about it on Friday, Matt, was a promo for Game 7 today.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and if you look at the officiating crew, it was the same crew that was in Game 2, and it was the same outcome, and it wasn't. I don't compare. I feel like this Game 6 wasn't as bad as Game 2 was for the Nuggets. Anyway, I know they were down 50 at one point, and they lost by 45, 40, something crazy. But the game itself just didn't. It was like the Nuggets realized it, when those shots weren't falling, Mike, how many open baskets did they miss in a row? It was 5, I want to say.
They were just jacking them up.
And then Jamal Murray wasn't dunking the basketball. He was laying it in and throwing. I don't know what the hell that was going on. You could tell that game was chalked after that 9-2, because they came out on a big run, and they looked like it was just going to just go downhill and blow everything up. And then they started shooting threes. So, and then I'm not going to say that there was controversial calls. I'm not going to say that, but that officiating crew lets Minnesota play a certain way, and the Nuggets, instead of throwing a fit and whining and crying about it, they just basically packed up their tent and said, we'll get you a game 7 in Denver when we don't have this officiating crew. That's definitely a way to look at it, and I've thought about that several times, especially when I heard that crew was going to be the crew that worked that game. So it was very, very interesting telling to see that it turned out the same way, basically the same way game 2 was.
And look, I'm partly kidding about
Oh, totally. I know.
the game
Totally.
being, but a lot of it adds up, especially why are you running a game 7 promo when this game hasn't even started yet? Why is Joker shooting 5 threes in a row? Why, like you said, why is Murray just going too hard off the glass on layups? I don't know. It was just a weird thing. I feel like the conversation the league and ESPN had with the Nuggets before the game, they're like, hey, fans love this series. We have to have it go 7. We're getting a bunch of ratings. We're getting a bunch of, advertising is through the roof. Sponsors are throwing themselves at us. We have to have it go 7. We'll give you 3 days off even, and we'll give you game 7 at home, but just F this game up. Just completely lose your minds in this game.
It's a great series. It really, really is a great series. And that's what we were all expecting, right? Nuggets fans were hoping it would be over by now, because I'm watching that game last night and I was like, I had Dallas in that series because I just felt Oklahoma City is too young.
Well, going into that series, I thought Dallas matched up with them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's that's the same way I felt too. I just didn't think that there was something that was better that Oklahoma City had right now that was better than the Dallas Mavericks. But going into that or watching that game last night, I was rooting. I was glad to see Oklahoma City go up so big, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a typical like a game 6 like the Minnesota Denver game was. And they just go up and blow out everything, and Dallas is like, all right, well, game 7, but Dallas came back to win, and I was hoping Oklahoma City would win so we would see some more extension, or they would have to play another game just like Denver and Minnesota has to play another game today. But no, they take care of their work, and then now they get to sit an extra day to get ready for Wednesday, because then the Nuggets, that's the most important thing about winning that game 6 was they could have all this time waiting and relaxing and getting healthy until this series, the Western Conference Final, starts on Wednesday. So that's what I was hoping for last night, that Oklahoma City would extend the series so that whatever team happens, because from a basketball fan perspective, this next series is going to be a good one. Doesn't matter if it's Minnesota or Denver. We're hoping that it's Denver, Mike, you and I. But as a basketball fan, this next Western Conference Final is going to be pretty cool. Pretty fun to watch.
And I love the parity this season, except for Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just like, everyone's just kind of like, yeah, screw Cleveland. Spider Mitchell, just sit out the last couple of games. But, for as much as I don't really like New York teams, period, this Knicks team is fun to watch. I'm hoping that
Jalen Brunson, my goodness.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that Josh Hart gets to play. He left kind of the game early the other night. Mm-hmm. No home team has lost in that series, by the way. So we'll see. We'll see if the Knicks get it done this afternoon. That'll be the afternoon kind of matinee event, which, again, you got what you wanted, NBA and ESPN. 2 game 7s on Sunday when nobody's working, a bunch of eyeballs, especially that – I'm telling you, Matt, the conspiracy theories are flying all over the radar here. That Nuggets prime time 6:30 game, everyone's sitting down for dinner in front of the TV. Come on. It doesn't. I
know. I'm right there with you, dude. I see it. It's there. It's painted out there. It's like, that's why when you look at things from that perspective, when I heard that they earlier in the day, I was like thinking that, man, that's the same crew, because they let and it looked just like game 2, but it was different still, but it looked the same way. And there was at one point I think the Nuggets shot two free throws, and Minnesota shot like I think it was 8 or 9 or maybe even 10. So there was a disparity there, whatever that word is. It's all, sometimes English beats me up, the English language, but I was
I was about
just
to say the correct way, and then I totally forgot how to say it.
see, it does the same thing to you too. But that's what I'm thinking. Like from that perspective, if you take it back and look at things, and you're like, dang, that could be true. This could be all scripted, and this was in the script, blah, blah, blah. But I did you see Nicola standing on the sidelines just staring a hole in the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Yes, I was about to put that picture up right there.
Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah,
Like knowing what that guy can do.
Everyone was talking about this picture, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's going off for 50 on Sunday."
But see, at the same time, like if he goes off for 50, does that mean we still win? Because he scored 45 points one time in a playoff game when we lost. So
well, he scored 40 in game,
and they won
game 5, and they won.
I think Jamal needs to go off for 50. We need to have one of those Jamal Murray playoff 50 games. That's what I want. I know Nicola looked focused. I think we're going to get like a 16 assists, 20 some rebound, 25, 27 point games from Nicola. That's going to be him going off. But Jamal Murray needs to go. He needs to score 30 plus tonight.
So what's up with like? Oh, go ahead.
I'm not even saying that like he needs that he needs to score more than Anthony Edwards. He just needs to go off in some way, shape, or form because he hasn't. You know what I mean? He hasn't done, except for a couple spurts here and there and big shots that he made in game 3. Jamal Murray hasn't been playoff Jamal. He's been terrible. And if he's hurt, okay, I get it. But then stay off the floor because he's. I'm not gonna say he's killing this team or with the way he's playing. He's hurt, but he's not contributing. Yeah, he's not helping.
Right. At some point, when you're hurt, I know you want to push through it and be a warrior and whatever you want to call it, but at some point, you're not doing anything to help the team. You're almost hurting the team.
Yeah,
because of whatever you're going through.
If Reggie Jackson, if Bruce Brown was on this team, I think he would. Jamal Murray's minutes would go down extremely. He might have even set out game 5 or games, like he might have even set out a game if we had a comparable backup. But Reggie Jackson's just not. The game changes when Reggie's in the game. It's a different game. So
well, the league should have just suspended him anyway and just been like,
right,
have a day off,
have a game off. And he actually came back and played. That was his best game of the series, is when he came back. It was that game 3. But I mean, since then, it's just been like, that's I don't want to sit here and question if he's that hurt that that he can't play. And if that's the conversation, that's what we're thinking of, he shouldn't be playing. So I mean, if they get through this, which I hope they will today, game 7, I think that, I mean, you should think about it. You should think, especially if he looks like crap today, you should definitely think about sitting him for game 1.
Yeah, and Reggie hasn't really been all that great in these playoffs coming in for Jamal. I honestly like Christian Brown at the backup.
Did you see? Point guard. I was just going to ask you that. Did you notice there was like a little, like, okay, you run the point, you bring the ball up, because it's not really a point situation, and because Aaron Gordon's been bringing the ball up, Nicola's been bringing the ball up, and there's not really like a situation where it's like, I noticed Christian Brown was bringing the ball up a little bit more, and I liked it. And is this like a step? Because we saw it last year in the playoffs. He wasn't really good in that Lakers series. He was good in the Miami series. He was good in the Wolves series. Oh, I'm sorry, in the Phoenix. What was it? I know he was kind of the Lakers series. He didn't get a lot of minutes, but this year
he struggled in the Lakers series.
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
what I thought.
And this year he was all right.
And and this year he was. There were some times that LeBron would put him on his back, but for the most part, he has played well against Anthony Edwards. And I would say that, the best defender that the Nuggets have had on Anthony Edwards. But getting more responsibility on offense is really good to see something like that from Christian Brown, because his defense is the biggest reason why he gets those minutes, and to see him contributing on offense, that's really, really big for the future of this team because this team's looking for a second point guard or somebody to come off the bench. And right now they're just throwing things against the wall to see what sticks each night. Cause the way Reggie Jackson plays, it's frustrating as hell, but there are times that style will work. But it's not something that you can rely on in this type of offense with Nikola Jokic. It's not. So that's why I think Christian Brown you're starting to see him, get those minutes, or get those handles.
Yeah, throw Gillespie out there as well. I know he's not dressed. I know he's not part of the playoff roster, but he had a couple good games this season. I know he went off for 20-something against Portland halfway through the season. He had a couple good games where Jamal missed some games, so he was the backup point guard behind Reggie. Reggie was starting those games. So yeah, tonight is going to be huge. It is going to be I mean, all you had to do was win home games. I know.
Yeah, to win one of those.
Minnesota came in here, stole 2. Nuggets went out there, stole 2, and then it's kind of been a little bit even since. Nuggets got 1 at home, and then Minnesota got 1 at home. So all you have to do is win home games, and you're set. Especially if you want to move on to next round, Matt, you're going to have home court advantage again against Dallas.
Right. And
both of these teams would anyway.
Right. Yeah. Dallas is going away. Dallas is going to Minnesota or to Denver no matter what. Yeah. That's a good point because, like, that game 1, because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they came in here, Minnesota came in here and smashed Denver 2 games in a row. Game 1 was a lot closer than I think a lot of people remember it. Just I know they kind of Minnesota pulled away and they clutched up at the end, which is something that Denver usually does. And if Denver does that, the series is over. It's done. If they get that game 1, because it was a competitive basketball game until a couple minutes there left in the fourth quarter. But that game, you go back and you point to that game, and like game 2 is game 2, but you go back and you point to that game right there is this series would be over if Denver wins that game.
Yeah. And they only lost by 7. Game 2 was
that was terrible.
I was gonna ask you, like, these playoffs, we've seen really close games, really tight games, like Game 6 last night between Dallas and Oklahoma City. We'll get into that foul call, the controversial call at the end of that game. Again, just one of those things where even after a review, they stand by it. But like, we've seen close games like last night. We've seen just absolute blowout losses. I mean, Indiana blew out New York in Indianapolis a couple games ago. I mean, what do you think that's about? You think teams are, again, I'm semi-joking about the Nuggets game, just kind of hey guys, we'll give you game 7 at home. Don't worry about it, but we have to have it go 7. I mean, are these teams just taking nights off and refueling for a game at home? Like, what do you think these blowout losses are about?
That there's a little bit of all of that mixed in. I think the Nuggets game, there are games that are just legit. You got your doors blown off and you played like crap. The effort wasn't there, and that's game 2 for the Nuggets. And that's probably that game in Indy, where everybody was writing off the Knicks, saying they're too injured. They're not going to make it. Tom Thibodeau runs these guys ragged. Blows up the minutes, and there was finger pointing going there, and then here comes back New York, and they do the same thing. And I think this year there's been a pattern of tournament basketball. I experienced it yesterday on a lower level with my 7th graders. We played 2 of our best games of the season in the first 2 games. We get into the consolation game, and we just totally play like the Nuggets. I even told them, you guys look like the Nuggets out there. And it's just lack of focus, not seeing the ball fall. And we just, nothing can fall. Nothing would go in, the first 5-6 shots that they took, and you just comparable to the Nuggets, comparable to some of these other teams that are getting blown out, is the ball doesn't fall. And then it's just, you start getting doubt in your head. The effort starts to go away because it's like, we're not going to make the baskets anyway. They're up 15. The ball hasn't fallen. It's, just that doubt kind of seeps in. And every now and then you have a couple players on your team that are locked in. that can go get their shot, that are still getting there, or they can go to the rim. That's what you always say. You always preach, go to the basket, go to the rim, get fouled. That's how you get out of these shooting slumps. Well, sometimes that doesn't always work. Like you look at the Nuggets. They just stopped and started jacking threes. And it just seeps into your mind like the doubt that, oh, well, we got another game. And that's same thing, tournament basketball. We got another game. We're going to play another game. And that's kind of what seeps into these guys' minds. There's a lot of, especially with these younger teams, there's a lot of that AAU callous, I should say, that they've gone through it. They've played a ton of tournament games where you win two and you lose one, and with that one you lost, you get blown out in typically, and it's just because you don't care because you got another game coming. There's a little bit of all of that that's in the books, and with the Nuggets game in particular, I really did see a team that said they popped smoke, they got out of, they were done. And they were just going to wait for games. They got, you saw after the game when Jamal and Nicola was talking, and that's how Anthony Edwards has taken this whole series. He's taken it that way. It's next game. He gave Joker his flowers after game 5. And then what happens he goes, we're going to game 6. And he still had that mindset. Nicola and Jamal had that same mindset after game 6. So I think a lot of it has to do with that, that tournament mindset, being just used to the losing a game and then knowing there's another game left.
But is that good for a team when you have, especially in a closeout game where you could just end this series, get a few more days off, and if they would have won that game 6, they would have had close to a week off. They would have had 6 days off, and we've seen rest actually, have some rust on some teams, but it has helped this team because they had a week off in between the Lakers and this Minnesota series. So you figure that rest would have helped this team. Jamal, whatever he did to his elbow, it would have gave Joker more time to rest and prep and stuff like that. Michael Porter Jr. could have went to Cancun and got some sunshine like he did, because he has struggled in this series. How good is that though, to have that mindset? Like, we got another game, and Dallas last night could have laid down, but they were at home.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's finish this thing off. It was a close game. They only won by a point, but still, and you're a 5 seed. If you're the Mavericks, you're a 5 seed taking on the number 1 seed with the guy that everyone wanted to win MVP. And now I'm glad. I'm not only did I want the Mavericks to win this series because of I just felt like they matched up better anyway, but I wanted Oklahoma City to lose just because of the MVP conversation, and now their excuse is going to be, they're the youngest team and whatever.
Yeah.
But how good is that mindset though? Like, let's close this out, or we have another game, because there's I don't know if you want to think that way.
Like you mentioned, like I said, like sometimes you have 2 guys or a guy that is locked in, or that can take into that next extra gear, that can go an extra level, like Kyrie did. Kyrie had 18, 20 points in that second half to drag the Mavs back. Luka was good coming down the stretch. They got some buckets from what's his name, Green or what was it? What was the let's see, all what is it? All research. PJ Washington. Yeah. They got finally PJ Washington made a big 3. Like there was a couple minutes left in the game. He bangs a big 3. It was his first basket of the whole game. And there's a couple of those guys that come back that help you. And if you have, in my opinion, I bet you this is what kind of something along the lines of what Michael Malone's coach's speech was. And I'm just spitballing here, but I would bet that there was something along the lines of, if we get this done here in Minnesota, then we can go home, we can rest, we can get right for the next series. If we take care of our work here and do what we need to do here, then we get all this time to rest. We get all this time to get better, to get healthier. And there was something like that along those lines. We don't want to let these guys, we don't want to give these guys another chance. We don't want to go to game 7. We don't want to blah, 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 blah. There was probably a lot of something like that. And if you have the right team, in my opinion, if you have the right team, which I think the Denver Nuggets can be, they are that team.
During that speech, that's when the league, when Adam Silver and the
hold
boss
on,
at ESPN walked in and said, "Hey,
Wait a minute, Mike.
Guys, I
hold
know
on.
we got to have this go. We got to have this go 7. Sorry, guys.
Michael, just step back a second, Michael. Just hear me out on this. Yeah.
Because if you notice, he was not calling timeouts until after like a 20-2 run.
No, it was definitely like
it was too suspicious to
and that's why I think, and they won't say it, but that's why I think that there was a certain point where Michael Malone was like, there's no point for me to throw a fit. There's no point for me to get crazy and have those rage timeouts. He was just done.
Because I'll get fined if we win this game.
Exactly.
I will get fined.
There was the chance of he could get fined. There's a chance of one of the players could get, there was a lot of that was going through their heads. I bet there was a lot of that was going like, I don't want to lose my, you know what, here because I'm going to be out for game 7.
I'm talking about being fined for winning the game.
Oh yeah, I know what you meant. One
of those secret fines that's in their contract. Like, hey,
yeah,
there's a clause in their contract. If you win this game when you're not supposed to, you will not get paid for this game. You will not get a game check.
You didn't follow bro. You didn't follow protocol. No, I mean,
yeah, you guys are improvising. This is part of the script.
Yeah, it did look like they were packing it in, even though they kept players out there to play, but it did look like they were packing it in and just ready for game 7. Everybody from the coaching staff down knew it, but they came out 9-2. There was a 9-0 run.
Again, Adam Silver got on the phone and was like, hey, we literally just talked about this, guys. We literally just talked about it.
What are you guys doing? Are you guys trying to screw up my? No, it looks like that. It looks like that.
I'm saying it tongue in cheek, kind of joking, but it's just it all adds up. The conspiracy theories are in place, in line, and now you got 2 game 7s on a Sunday.
What more could you ask for?
Not only that, one in the mecca of basketball at Madison Square Garden, and then one with, the future of the league and Anthony Edwards and Joker, the 3-time MVP.
And Mike,
speaking of which, did you see his SpongeBob shoes that are coming out?
I did see those. I was trying to get the Wimby shoes, or no, I wasn't. I was watching a buddy try to get the Wimby shoes that came out last week while we were working.
Yeah, so he's got a SpongeBob one, a Patrick one, what is the Squidward, yeah, and Mr. Krabs.
Yeah,
that's
funny.
Might have to cop me a Patrick.
The Wimby shoes went like so fast, and their resales were like 400.
I love the alien.
It's so badass.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad he ran with that.
Yeah,
with that
it's
nickname.
so awesome. It's so awesome.
I kind of liked Joker's logo when he had his Nike shoe. It had the little gesture hat, but you can't really tell what's on because he's part of that 361 brand, and you can't really tell his logo, I guess. But Aaron Gordon shoes are pretty cool though too. He's with that same 361 degrees, I think it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2 game 7s this afternoon. Well, one this afternoon, and then you got a couple hours in between the Knicks and the Pacers, and then the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. One more point on the Nuggets Timberwolves. Going back to Anthony Edwards, I want to like this dude. I want to like him so much. I like his game, but just the arrogance and I get you have to play with a swagger and a confidence and a cockiness, but he's just a little bit over the top for me. And I like some of the thing he says, but everyone's saying, oh, he's talking his real talk. His real talk. I'm like, he doesn't have to call the Nuggets bench MFers. Like, he doesn't have to, some of the things he says and the whining after every single time he drives to the basket is getting old. I mean, everyone was talking about Luka last night, like just complaining after every single shot like Anthony Edwards cannot get to the rim without falling down. It's impossible. Remember when the Lakers series, I was like, they do not know how to play basketball standing up because somebody's on the ground at all times. And Anthony Edwards, as much as I like his game, I want to like this dude so much. And he's 22. I get it. He's young. He's got that little young punk mentality. Maybe he'll mature and humble down a little bit. But just again, another question for you. These playoff rotations, like I still don't understand why a guy like maybe DeAndre Jordan is not playing. When somebody's driving to the basket, just knock them down. Especially Edwards, like give him a reason not to drive to the basket. And if you throw DeAndre Jordan out there, he's a big body. He can affect shots. Who cares if he fouls out? You're not using him anyway. Like, for as much time as Edwards drives to the bat, somebody's got to knock him down. Do the old Jordan rule and just knock him on his ass. Like, do something to make him think about driving to the hoop.
Yeah, I don't know why, because the way I look at the rotations, and you can see it that sometimes they get played out of necessity when guys go in, but especially the Nuggets in particular, Michael Malone trusts there's certain guys that he trusts, and I think DeAndre is in that group, that trust tree, that trust circle, however you want to look at it. But if you look at, I remember when they threw in the reserves, and I think it might have been game 3, where everybody like Minnesota unloaded the bench, and then Denver unloaded the bench, and you watch guys like Zeke Naji, and there was a couple. I think Strawler was in there too, and
Strawler, another guy,
maybe Pickett, but
Strawler, another guy who can shoot.
Here's the thing with there's just and even P Watson, Peyton Watson, is there's the lack of trust because of what the coaching staff, Michael Malone in particular, but the coaching staff has seen in games before that we as fans don't see, or maybe they're supposed to do certain things and that we as fans see them do other things. And then the coach is like, no, you're not supposed to do it that way. This is how I want it done. And if you can't do it that way, then I can't trust you on the floor,
Well,
and that's the biggest thing that I see.
You can trust DeAndre Jordan to go out there.
DeAndre Jordan is the only, like I said, he's the only one that I could see, and I thought he was going to get minutes. I mean, because he does have a veteran presence.
Played since like game 1 of the Lakers series, and he got a little bit of minutes in game 6 because of they were blown out. But.
Right. And I just think that DeAndre Jordan's one of those guys that can get that. But I don't have any trust in Strawler. I don't have any trust in Watson. I watched him
offensively. I do not trust him at all.
And that's the thing. It's like, Michael Malone doesn't trust these guys, and he's not going to put them in a situation that's going to hurt the team. And especially in this, and this is why benches get so tight. And this is why it's like, it's when I always see the play this guy, play that guy. It's like, well, those guys haven't earned, they can't be trusted in certain situations. If I feel like DeAndre Jordan could have gotten some minutes, especially with those multiple bigs out there. Hell, give Aaron Gordon a break and run DeAndre out there.
Because why is Aaron Gordon the backup center?
Yeah,
I get having him out there to bring the ball up, but like you're number one, you're playing him out of a position. You got 2 7-footers. Aaron Gordon's what, 6'9", 6'8". Like
he's tough. He's tough. The reason why he gets
he's tough. Yeah. But like he's still he's your tallest guy out there, and there's 2-3 other guys on Minnesota who's taller than him out there. Like he's not. I don't know. I mean,
I agree with DeAndre Jordan. Yeah,
I think you could trust DeAndre to go out there and knock somebody down.
That's what I think he can. DeAndre won't make the bad play. P. Watt and Peyton Watson, and Strawler, they can make the bad play.
Peyton Watson, when he drives to the basket, he looks like a baby fawn trying to walk on ice.
His confidence isn't 100% there yet.
Like he doesn't. His legs are too long for his mindset, and when he drives to the basket, he like overdoes it, and then. Literally, he looks like a baby deer trying to walk on a lake that is frozen over, and he just does, and then he gets too far under the basket and he just falls down.
And I really think, Mike, that this team is even if they win the championship this year, they go back to back. This team is going to look a lot different next year, and it's from. I agree, it needs to, because the league is getting bigger. You just look at Minnesota. You look at Dallas, what they have in size and length.
Minnesota's general manager, who used to be the Nuggets general manager,
Yeah.
built this team for this moment.
To beat Nikola Jokic. And other teams are going to start going that way. They're going to get bigger. The Nuggets are going to have to get bigger. They're going to have to invest into a bench position that helps Joker or that can spell Joker. One of the two. And what I'm talking about is you're either looking at a sub 5 that can do the things, and I'm talking about a legit player here, and I would even think and go as far as an all-star player. Maybe not a superstar, but an all-star player. But I also could see the Nuggets making a play for a superstar. And that would mean that, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., you're probably looking right there that those two guys won't be on this team anymore next year. Even if they go back-to-back and win the championship, this team can look that much different. But because what you're seeing in this playoffs is you're going to need more of a meat shield. You're going to need something to help Nikola Jokic with the size that he's going to see next year. That's just because I think Oklahoma City, they're already tall. They're already lengthy. But I think they're going to get bigger. They're going to get taller. Memphis, the Lakers, I think, are going to get bigger and taller. There's a lot of teams out there that are just going to get bigger. Yeah, Dallas got tall this year. Lively is 7 footer. They're tall. Yeah. And you remember that game where Kyrie hit that last second buzzer shot? Lively was giving Joker some fits. I mean, I think Joker would figure out what to do with him, but Lively's one of those tall, lanky guys that on the defensive end is going to give Nikola Jokic, he's going to give him some work.
Yeah, and we've seen them kind of struggle with Dallas already this year. So if they make it to the conference finals, it will be they'll have to find some length. And again, I'm not saying DeAndre Jordan should be playing. I know sometimes I look at these rotations, Matt, and I'm just like, and not just the Nuggets, all these teams well, I mean, this dude did pretty well in the regular season. Why is he not getting those minutes? And I get it. You gotta have guys out there you could trust. But DeAndre Jordan's been in the league 16 years. I agree with that. He's been in these moments. He's been in the playoffs before, starting in the playoffs before. And I know that all those Clippers years, they failed to get past They failed to get past the second. And I don't even know if they made a conference finals in those years. They may have. I don't know. Zero research, all reaction. But
I can't remember.
He's got that experience. And like you said, he's going to make the right play. So I don't know. Maybe.
I agree. Yeah. I think we should have I would have liked to see some DeAndre Jordan minutes. Even with Joker.
Just knock somebody down. If he fouls out, who cares? You're not using him.
Well, meat shield him because you're going to create mismatches. You're going to create a different matchup. So maybe you're going to have Towns have to take DeAndre Jordan, and then now Gobert has to take Joker no matter what. And if Towns leaves DeAndre, here comes a lob dunk. Use DeAndre as for a spell for Gordon. I mean, even for Joker, you can take Joker out. I think there are spots. There are minutes for DeAndre Jordan out there, and I'm not saying that he's going to change the game, and this series would have been different, but I felt like DeAndre Jordan in particular could have seen some minutes and could have got some spots with all the size that they're throwing at him at this team. So yeah. I agree with you on DeAndre Jordan. The other guys, though, after seeing especially Zeke, that's a pick and even a signing that has not worked out at all for this Denver Nuggets, and it's kind of like that's the one where you're looking at it like, oh, they missed on that guy. They missed on him.
And even Reggie, he might not be part of.
Well, I don't think Reggie's gonna. No, they're gonna go a different way. Reggie, he just, it's not his fault. He just plays a different style of basketball.
It's funny because when Jamal's out there, the pick and roll is almost unstoppable. But when Reggie's out there, you could see Joker getting ready for the pick and pop. And then Reggie just goes off somewhere else and tries to do his own thing. And you can see Joker just looking at him like, dude, where are you going? So
he plays a different game, Reggie Jackson does. And then sometimes that could help you. Sometimes that could be there where you need that guy to go get you a bucket or get to the free throw line. But he's not Clipper Reggie Jackson at this point.
No, and you saw during the regular season the connection that Reggie and DeAndre had off the bench. So you had 2/5 of Lob City on the Nuggets out there
Right,
during the
right.
regular season. So I don't know. They might have to shake up something. But this Indiana Knicks series also gets going. Game 7 this afternoon. What do you make of this game? We mentioned that the home team has not lost in this series. This is obviously going to be in New York. Josh Hart is questionable. I think Anobi is still questionable. He's missed the last couple games with I think it was a quad or a hamstring type thing. I mean, if those guys aren't ready to go, you kind of give Indiana a chance on the road. But I know Indiana's kind of been banged up as well. Halliburton's been dealing with some back issues and stuff like that. So, what's your prediction, I guess, for Game 7 in New York at Madison Square Garden, Pacers Knicks?
Man,
Kind of reigniting the old
yeah.
90s rivalry.
If you told me, because this is what I'm rooting for, and this is what I would like to see in just watching these games. I mean, the Knicks are getting production from guys that you're like DiVincenzo has been going off, and that's what like the big
The Nova
narrative
Knicks.
around the Knicks has been is that, can DiVincenzo keep doing what he's doing? Can he keep doing this? Can he keep doing that? Blah 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 blah. And Brunson's going to do his. Brunson's going to get what he needs to do. And then all of a sudden, this guy McBride has started off the bench to give Brunson a break on the offensive end, and he goes for 20 in this last game. So guys are contributing that you weren't expecting guys to contribute. If you told me Anobi was going to play for this or play this game, or I would definitely throw the Knicks up there. I got the Knicks by it's going to be a close game. I really think this is going to be one of those close games, and I got the Knicks winning it, but it's you just have to look at the bench and then guys that you really don't even have any like knowledge that they were even contributing to this team. So it's gonna be a fun game. Halliburton can go off and just start shooting lights out and doing the things that he's doing. Miles Turner has been huge. Siakam's been really good for Indiana. If you look at the Pacers and everything that they have there, I mean, Toppin's coming off the bench and contributing. So you want to go with Indiana, right? But my heart is telling me I think the Knicks, if they get healthier, if they win this game today, if they get healthier, I think they can beat the Celtics, and I would love to see a New York-Boston series, and I'd love to see New York beat them. But, I think the Pacers could beat them. This is what I'm trying to say, Mike, is I think the Knicks are going to win this game, but I think any one of these teams can beat Boston because, again, I have no confidence in Boston. I have no confidence in Tatum. I have no confidence in Crazy Joe. He's got 3 blocks in these playoff series. Did you see his stat line?
He's
dominating.
Yeah.
So I just think both of these teams have a shot of taking out Boston, but I think New York is going to win today. They're like you said earlier, they're in Madison Square. They're there, man, the Mecca. They're freaking there. And how long has it been since there's been a game 7 of this magnitude? A playoff game in general of this magnitude, let alone a game 7 against the Pacers. This is nostalgia at its best. I wish Reggie Miller and John Starks and guys like that, Charles Oakley can show up. I don't even think Charles Oakley's allowed in the building anymore.
I think he's banned from Madison Square Garden for life.
Guys like what I'm talking about.
Dude?
Yeah, I can't remember. What did he do? Didn't he get in a fight with the owners or
and they showed, I think they bring
Spike
in
Lee.
I think they bring in these older guys for just to hype the crowd up, get it going. They had, I think Patrick Ewing was at a game, so they asked these guys, hey, can you come? We'll give you courtside seats, just to hype everybody up, hype the team up, hype the crowd up. So, and Reggie obviously works for TNT, so he's done some of these games,
right.
He's announced some of these games, so he's in the building. He hasn't done his little choke gesture yet, but because Pacers have not won in New York so far this season or in this playoff, so we'll see.
Yeah, I got New York. I just think this series has really blown up my nostalgia. Knicks Pacers series was so good in the 90s. They were so freaking good. And this series has been pretty good too. There's some bad blood getting thrown around. Carlisle saying some things, after game what was that, game 3, I think. And just where everybody wrote off the Knicks and blah blah blah. So I do think this series has brought back the Knicks, has brought even the Pacers, and it's fun for basketball fans, especially old guys like us, or me in particular. You're still a young guy, Mike.
Barely. Barely. Yeah. We'll see when September rolls around how young I feel. But so you got the Knicks winning this one. I agree. I think it's gonna be a close game. My heart wants the Pacers, and I like this Knicks team. They're fun to watch. You got the Nova Knicks out there, which is interesting. That
I love the Nova Knicks. Hell yeah.
Well, which is interesting because you got 3 guards playing at the same time. So you're sacrificing size when you got those 3 guys out there, but the connection between those guys is just insane. And of course, if you don't know the Nova Knicks, it is Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Josh Hart. I guess, Josh Hart obviously questionable for this game. He's got like abdomen strain or abdomen soreness or something like that. He was in and out of the locker room in game 6 in Indianapolis. So hopefully the beginning of this series or dating back to last series, he hadn't even sat down for like 3 straight games. Like he barely took a break. And when we talk about those tight rotations and, obviously Tom Thibodeau, he is one of those guys who just, I guess, paraphrasing and quoting, runs these guys ragged. But if you could play all 48 minutes, Matt, you're going to.
Well, and I know that there's a lot of that's the narrative around Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks, is that he just runs these guys ragged. He did it with the Bulls. When he was there, and he does it in the regular season, blah blah blah. But when they're injury depleted, you gotta find guys, and if you can't, that goes back to, again, when you look, because I felt that I felt it at a much lower level, and when I look down at my bench and I'm looking for a spark or something, and I look down there, and I know if I put this person in, that what they're gonna do. I know if I put this person in, what's gonna happen. And it's like there's also that other, like, well, why don't you give a guy a chance? They gave McBride a chance. They threw McBride in, and he has been tremendous. So there's situations like that where you look down and like, maybe I got to give that. But if you're at this position in the playoffs, in the season, not even the playoffs, but just if you're in the situation in the season, you have a very good feeling of what you have as on your bench and on your team. And it's very hard to put somebody in where you don't know if they're ready for it. You don't know if they're ready for it, but these guys have been, and it's out of necessity. And I think all that narrative should go away from Tom Thibodeau in this situation, because right now it's out of necessity, and you got to do what you need to do. And look, and they can rest in the offseason, right? I'm sure he's taken that mindset. They're professional athletes. They can rest in the offseason. They're grown ass men that can rest in the offseason. And I can't remember who it was that said something that no, I'm not tired or nothing like that, because I didn't work a 12-hour shift. I'm just out here playing basketball. And I can't remember who it was that said that, but that really resonated with me. And it's true. Like there's no sympathy from regular blue collar people that look at these NBA players, and when they talk about saying that they're get overplayed, there's no sympathy from that, because we just got done working 12 hours today. So it's one of those situations too that I was glad that was brought up.
And a lot of these guys too, you talk about rest in the offseason, a lot of these guys train in the offseason as well. So they're ready to go. A lot of guys even come to Denver to train to get that extra kick, because if you can run 48 minutes at altitude, you go to like Miami or somewhere, you're not even breathing hard. So,
right.
And that's why Olympic people train here down in the Springs. It's funny you say
the
down.
Sixers came here.
If you're from Colorado, you say down in the Springs because it's south.
South is always down.
But actually, the Springs is higher in elevation. Than Denver. So, but we always say down. So if you
when you say north, you say up north.
Yeah, if you come visit and say, hey, let's go up to the Springs, that's how we know you're from Texas or somewhere. So
Right. Because
get
we
out of
say,
here.
let
From California, get out of here.
get out of here. Because that's what we say. We say go down to the Springs, and then we say go up to Fort Collins.
Because it's north and south, but
Right.
and actually up north is lower than Denver, which is
Yeah.
it's just
It's crazy. It's crazy how it works. But if, like you said, if you're from Colorado, you understand. You get it.
You get the lingo. Speaking of the Springs, again, go make sure you go check out Pike Peak's sports cards.
I got to get down there and see what they got, because the rookie cards have got to have had to have come out yet for the football, right? Or did they come out?
I've seen a couple Caleb Williams. I think
I gotta go.
I think I saw Bo Nix.
I gotta go start buying. Maybe that's something we do today with the kiddos, because we haven't been to the card shop in a little bit. Maybe I go get some cards.
And they might have the Pokemon and what are the kids playing now? I mean, is Magic the Gathering still a thing?
It is, but that's a specific group of people.
I used to have see, my brother was always he had Magic cards, and for whatever reason I had Star Wars cards. Never played, didn't know how to play.
Oh,
but I had like 3 boxes, and one of them was white for the Alliance, or the Alliance, and then one of them was black for the Empire.
The Empire,
the Rebels and the Republic, or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
They were cool cards. Never knew how to play with them, but I think I still have those boxes somewhere.
Dude, those might be worth money. Both my boys, they like the Pokemon. They like Silver Tempest and some other ones. But yeah, we got to hit the card shop up.
All right. Also, during this last week, it was the start of the WNBA season. Everybody was hyped for that, Matt. Caitlin Clark getting going, and Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Cardoso. So all these big names that we just saw in the tournament a couple months ago get going here in the WNBA. I don't know if you saw Caitlin Clark's welcome to the league moment. She got a hard screen set on her from
the GOAT.
Well, when they were playing the Liberty yesterday, and I mean, she turned out to have a good game. 22 points. It was her. I know it was only the second game of the season, but so far her best game as a pro. Struggled in the first couple of games. And Indiana was getting blown out by a lot at home, and then they go to New York. I think New York was up by a 20 piece at one point. The Fever came back, made it a close game. They lost by 11. But yeah, her best game as a pro. It was fun to see. I love Sabrina as well for the Liberty. I don't know if you saw her fake Caitlin.
Oh yeah, she smoked her.
Caitlin Clark came out of her shoes on that fake pass. It was another kind of welcome to the league moment, although it wasn't a hard screen like Brianna Stewart set, but one of those fakes and then, just the pure 3-point shot by Sabrina was clutch.
Yeah. And all these girls, I've watched, cause I like you, Mike, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. My wife and I are, the WNBA app, and we get to watch all these games. We've watched Cardoso and Angel Reese play in Chicago. I've watched Tervasi play, Kelsey Plum. Oh boy. I love watching her play basketball.
Yeah. Speaking of the aces, did you see
Kate Money Martin? Yep. Money Martin got the block. Kelsey Plum, all excited about that. Here's Mike, I don't, let me know if you feel the same way. I've watched a lot of WNBA in the past week, between preseason and then now regular season. I am enjoying the hell out of it. Like, it's not dunks, it's not, flipping and flopping, and I mean, Caitlin needs to get that out of her system, because she's been whining a lot too, and there is some of that, but it's not because that the women's game is a physical basketball game anyway. So I'm not saying it's more physical than the men, it's just different. And the officiating is different, but I'm enjoying the hell out of watching women's basketball right now. I don't know if it's carryover from the NCAA and I'm watching these girls, but there's a lot of girls that I remember watching in the past. Like Aaliyah Boston's on the Fevers team, which she was great last year with South Carolina. And I mean, and seeing Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart go off. Like I watched her. It was the first game I want to say. And she scored like 30, 40 something points. And she goes, Brianna Stewart is nasty. She's so freaking good. And just seeing these, and then again, I said Kelsey Plum like 3 times, but watching her play basketball is tremendous. And with Caitlin Clark in particular, and a lot of these rookies, Caitlin scored 20 points in both of the games she's played. But the biggest thing is that she's a -9 in this game, and I think she's averages like 8 turnovers already. That's all rookie stuff, right? That's all stuff that she just needs to learn how to play the NBA game. These veterans, all these other teams, these other girls are going to take her to the woodshed, so to speak. But that's rookie basketball. That's how these rookies get better. That's how these rookies come into the league. She's scoring 20 plus points.
Yeah, and I like what Cowherd said. He said, let her get her sea legs.
Yes, let her figure it out.
Yeah,
and she's got to get bigger. She's got to get bigger, and whether that's in the weight room, however, getting. You remember Michael Jordan? This is a perfect, and I'm not comparing her to Michael Jordan. I'm not going to do that. But remember, Michael Jordan came in, and when he realized he's got to get in a certain type of shape, he's got to get in a certain so he can take these beatings, and he got with his trainer, and then he turned into a basketball like he was a basketball machine. His body was built for basketball. And I think that's maybe Caitlin needs to go that route, because it's not as easy for her to get in and get her shot like she did in college. She can still pass it. She can still shoot the 3, which I think that's going to get even better. But she needs to get bigger when she gets inside and gets in the lane to to create these fouls. Because right now you're not going to get a foul call from these WNBA officials like you did in college when you take it up or go to the lane.
You went from the top college tier player. I mean, you hold almost every single record there was in college. Now you're at the bottom of the totem pole. You're not going to get those. You're not going to get what you got in college. So, and I was hoping so bad that Taurasi was going to be wrong. And so far, she's kind of been right about, Clark coming into the league. You're not facing girls anymore. You're facing women. So
grown ass women, man. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. They're just. I watched. When she played their first game was against. Oh geez. Now we got it. Hey, what's that guy doing?
Wings, right?
Is he paying attention? Yeah. It was the No,
the Wings were their preseason game. I forgot who their
was it the Liberty? They played the Liberty?
They just played the Liberty
yesterday.
Just
played the Liberty yesterday. Yeah. So I'm trying to find it when they kicked off. Was it Tuesday was their first game? Yeah, it was
Tuesday
right?
Was the first game, yeah.
Okay, they played the Suns, the Connecticut Suns.
Connecticut.
But when she went up against
and that's blew them out.
And that's another thing too. I think Colin Cowherd mentioned, or somebody mentioned, they're playing 2 of the best teams in the WNBA, like right off the bat, with some of the best players. Carrington was locking her down. She's never seen a defender like Carrington. I guarantee you, in college, never seen a defender that is established and as good as Carrington was. And she got to play with Thomas, who had a triple double. Like she broke a record that game. It was that game, and in Bonner, my God, that was it was again like I sound crazy, but just looking at how some of these girls can play and have played. Caitlin Clark is there. She's already filling it up on the stat sheet. But in my opinion, you have to look at, in the rookie situation, you don't look at the points she's scored, which is 20 points. She's averaging 20 points right now. The 2 games she's played, she's averaged 20 points. So I think that the turnovers need to come down a lot. And she'll figure that out. She'll figure it out. And then she'll learn how to play with these teams. She's got freaking Aaliyah Boston on her team.
And turnovers weren't out of the question in college either. She made her fair share of bad plays in college too. And when you're handling the ball 90% of the time, turnovers come with ball handlers. It's just how it is.
And they need to learn how to play her. Because
Yeah.
right now they've had her off ball a couple times.
Well, even her
She's
coach is like, we got to break her out of these
yeah.
college
Yep.
habits. So
Yep, exactly. And I think if right now what she needs to understand and learn, she can be a hell of a facilitator. She can pass the ball. And if she focuses on defense and passing the ball and getting off her 3-point shots when she can, I think right now that's what she needs to worry about most is with in this first year in her rookie season is learning how to pass the ball, be a facilitator, because she has a lot of pieces in front of her that she can rack up those assists. The points will come.
yeah,
That will
and
come.
she's almost better off ball anyway. I feel like she'd be better, at least in the WNBA. I know she's listed as a point guard, but if she played that 2 position and just like you said, off ball, catch and shoot, catch, fake, throw up a pump fake,
Mm-hmm.
get the person in the air, do your step back, and then you have a wide open 3-point shot. So,
And there was times too in that first game that they were closing her out at the logo. Like they weren't even letting her. And that's another thing too, is that they're going to get every defender, whoever your elite defender is that she goes up against, they're going to draw Caitlin. Caitlin's going to draw that defender. They're going to throw her best at her. So she's going to get the majority of the best being thrown at her just to prove a point, just go at the rookie, break her in. But also that's because she's deadly, man. She can shoot the basketball. We all know she can get up shots and she can create her own shot and she can shoot the basketball. So you should look at it from that perspective too, there's a lot of respect that the WNBA players are giving Caitlin Clark right now.
yeah, so we'll see what happens throughout. By the way, Cameron Brink looks good in purple, huh?
She does. And did you see her block? She blocked Kelsey. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
That was a fun game to watch. Let's just say that.
And I feel like when you're like Cardoso and Cameron Brink, when you have the size, where you can plug those players in. Like we mentioned, Caitlin Clark, should she be a point guard? Should she be that listed as a number 2, a more of a shooting guard, catch and shoot? So when you got the size like Cardoso and Cameron Brink, I think even Cameron Brink's listed as a power forward almost, but she's got the size and the length to affect shots. So it's easy to put those people down low and just be like, hey, affect people's shots. That's all you need to do.
Right.
So it's almost easier for them to be in the lineup because you know where to put those type of players. So yeah, it was fun watching Cameron Brink as well get her debut in her professional career off the ground as well. I don't know if you've seen Sparks games yet, but those are pretty fun to watch as well.
Oh, they're great. Like I said, Vegas is a great team. The Sparks, the Sky, Liberty, they're a great team with Sabrina and Brianna. And I mean, the Connecticut Sun was low. They were stacked. There's so many good players to watch in the WNBA that is going to be fun for me. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I mean, Angel Reese had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. She was 3 of 9, so she got most of her points from the line though. But that's what bigs do, and she's listed as a big, right?
Yeah, and she's got the height and the length as well. I mean, she just gobbled up rebounds in college, so might be a little bit tougher in the pros, but she will figure it out as well. All right, Matt, before we get on out of here, don't know if you saw Game 6 Friday night here in Colorado as Dallas advances to the Western Conference Finals. They still Edmonton absolutely destroyed Vancouver last night, so that game is going to Game 7, I think, tomorrow night. So one of the Canadian teams will be in the Western Conference Finals. But of all people, Matt, and it just crushed Avalanche fans' heart on Friday night, of all people to get the game-winning goal in double overtime to send the Avalanche home, it was Matt Duchene, a former Avalanche player for 8 seasons. And I never understood why Duchene got so much hate. I don't remember why. I know he kind of. I think I want to say Patrick Waugh was the coach at that time. and they didn't get along. I know he didn't get along with a lot of guys. I think he requested a trade, or I know the time just had to come to an end, and I don't remember the reason, because I think it was 2015. I want to say was his last year here.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, I know it was against the Avs. I know it was heartbreaking, double overtime, trying to I mean, we could have had 2 Game 7s today, Matt, in Denver. Well, the Nuggets would have been in Denver, but the Avalanche would be playing in Dallas. But it was almost kind of bittersweet to see Duchesne score the game-winning goal.
I bet it was. I mean, even though it's been so long since he's been here, but I remember when he was drafted here. Like, I think he went to go live with God, who did he live with? He lived with a player for a long time. And I remember hearing stories about like that experience and how he would, because a lot of players would go live with other players when they would move in. It was kind of like a mentorship, you know. But and then hearing how it ended here and how everything went down, he got traded, and then, you know, for it to be him that put the cap on the Avs season was like you said, it's bittersweet. I bet you feels really good for him and the Stars. I mean, the Avs, like that's a team. There's a big dark cloud over this team. Like, is it? Do you get that feeling too? I just get like they can't kick it. They can't get rid of it because I felt like they were really moving along in the series, and then especially when they won the first round. And then they beat the Jets, and then they got here. And I felt like, I was like, man, they're starting to cook. They're starting to get their, you know, and then all the Nichushkin stuff comes down, right? And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, you got Gabe Landeskog that's been a big, like, what's happening with him? Is he ever going to play hockey again? Blah, 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 however you want to get with that. And then now you have this happen. And I think that they need to move on from those guys, don't they? Like, is that something that they just need to just cut ties and get? Does this team need a whole refresh, reboot? Like, what are we doing here?
I think they need to cut ties with Nichushkin, first of all. I know cocaine's a hell of a drug, but you got to, or heroin or whatever he's doing. I mean, whatever he's doing is working, because he led at some. I don't know. He might still lead the NHL in playoff goals these playoffs, and he hasn't played the last 2 games. And I think the Avs were kind of on that F-Val momentum, because this is the 3rd time he's let them down now by failing a drug test. Now he's suspended 6 months. So you're just like, I think they got to cut ties with him. And I know they gave him a year or 2 ago, they gave him a pretty hefty extension. I think you just got to cut bait, Matt, and just say, hey, you know, you can have all the prostitutes and heroin you want, but I mean, well, like, can we get him some fake piss or something? Like, can we do something to keep?
I don't think Ron Mexico's exist anymore. If you know, you know. Do you remember Ron Mexico?
No.
That was Mike Vick's fake name when he was buying piss. Was Ron Mexico?
There you go. I mean, you got money. You could you know, go to one of your Russian space station buddies and be like, hey,
give me fake urine. I need the fake urine.
Do something. But
I don't know.
I think they need to cut bait with him. I don't ever see Landeskog getting back on the ice. You're almost just like, they probably won't cut ties with him, but they may say, hey, dude, like, can we just give Nathan the C now? Can we just
that's another thing too. Like, I remember that was a huge deal a season ago. Like, who has the C? Who's wearing the C? He's not here. He's not there. We need somebody with the C. Nathan McKinnon should have had the C a long time ago. And I don't even watch the Avs that much, but how the hell does he not have the C? I mean, good night. I think you're muted.
I guess I'm on mute there. You got to push that button. On a normal basis, when you have the captain out there, you have a captain and 2 assistants. So normally it's Gabe and it's been McKinnon and Rantanen who have the A's. But now you have 3 A's because you don't have a C. So now you have Rantanen, Makar, and McKinnon who have A's now. But I mean, at some point you could be like, Gabe, like, you gotta make a decision here, bro. Like, maybe this offseason, I don't know if they'll force him into retirement, but be like, can you? And there's been like, videos of him skating around at morning skating around at
I've heard about
practice,
it. Yeah.
but I don't know if he'll ever be the same.
And
And
I think, yep. And from an outsider looking in, every time I hear about that, every time I hear about the Avs, there's always like, oh, what about Gabe Landeskog? And I think they're just waiting and hoping that he comes back. And I think there's just something about this team that it's hard to look at it and be like, that's a team. The way it's constructed, the way things are going right now, that's a team that's locked in. That's a team that's real close. I think it's further away than it is close because of these issues that they need to figure out. Whether it's something as simple as taking the C off the guy and putting it on another guy, whether it's McCarr or McKinnon, I don't know if that's it. Again, hockey with me is I'm fair weather. So, but I do catch these stories. I do catch them and I read them. And from what I used to know about hockey, how hockey, when I was really big into hockey, that sees important. Having that guy on the ice is important, right?
And let's not forget, you don't have Gabriel Landeskog out there 2 years ago. Avs don't win the Stanley Cup, and he got hurt in those playoffs. He literally got his knees sliced open by Cale Makar's skate inadvertently, but that's when the injury happened. It was just so weird how that injury happened. I didn't even see it like full speed, but if you go and watch when it happened, it was pretty brutal. So he basically like it skipped bleeding and basically almost cut to the bone is how far that injury went. And he played through it in those playoffs, and he played well for the Avs, had a couple goals. And if you don't have Nichushkin in those playoffs, they do not win a Stanley Cup. Nichushkin arguably could have won the MVP for the playoffs in that Stanley Cup run 2 years ago. And this team is think about it, this team is only 2 years removed from a Stanley Cup championship. You basically almost have the same team. A lot of talk about Georgie now and net. Kemper was not any better than Georgie was 2 years ago. The Avs almost won in spite of Darcy Kemper 2 years ago. And he went off to Washington and has since been benched, by the way. So if you're wondering how Darcy's doing, he's been benched already, probably for like a 40-year-old backup Zamboni driver. So you got that going for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I want to play this Matt Duchene video post-game. And again, I never understood why he had so much hate here in Denver, Matt. But I want to play this video post-game. Literally walked off the ice, took off his pads, and played this and got this interview.
Matt Duchene standing by. Congratulations. What a game. Listen, it looks like you're still catching your breath there.
Yeah.
But this was a wild roller coaster for you because you're right in the middle of the call, the no goal, which it looked like Mason Marchment was going to win this game. Then it looked like you got slashed early in double OT when you're on a breakaway. At what point
in the game, you just think just about the next shift? And I was obviously, you can imagine how we felt on the no goal call. And then the breakaway, I felt like I had a really good chance to score there. And, obviously, as a slash, but I think it got me on the sticks, probably a legal play. And no, I thought, Pav and Mosh were awesome tonight. Once we got together as a line, I thought we did a lot of damage in their end. And those guys just mucked hard at the end there and just popped out to me and, shot it in and then blacked out pretty much. So I was so tired. I started skating and then I got tired and I guess I don't even know what I did after that, to be honest with you. I was pretty pumped up.
Dutchy Biz here. We've talked all season
I'm
about
try
you
to find what he
guys'
said
depth.
about
You got
the
those
Avs.
2 first lines.
Because this made me like
they're,
him, man.
they're still,
this
as
video
much as
made
they're
me like him.
superhuman, they're still human to a certain extent. And, the longer that went, I think, I looked over at the monitor between the bench and looked at the ice time, and it was pretty big difference. I mean,
I've always liked him.
We're just such a true definition of a team, and that's our identity. And you go into double OT, it's it plays into our favor.
Dutchy, it's Ace. Congratulations. You're a high draft pick for the Avalanche. I'm sure you watched your teammates win a cup a few years ago. I'm sure it was bittersweet for you. Was it extra special scoring this goal to knock them out of the postseason?
You know what? I have a lot of fond memories of being an Av, and they're my favorite team growing up, and it was an absolute honor to be here. And it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do to kind of ask out. We were just at a crossroads, and they turned it around really quick, and I was really happy for them when they won. it was tough at the same time. It was a little bittersweet for sure. I mean, they swept us in the first round and then went on to win. And I mean, that's tough. You kind of, maybe wonder had I stayed if I would have won. But at the same time, God had a plan for me, and I'm just living out that plan. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of fitting, I guess, that things went the way they did last night, and in a barn in a place that meant a lot to me. My wife's from here, and I have a lot of friends and now family that are from here, and I have nothing but fond memories as an Av, and nothing but good feelings towards them.
Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, if that doesn't change your tune about Duchesne, and again, you just heard him there. He said it was kind of hard to ask out. They were at a crossroads. I honestly don't remember what happened, but to hear him say, and he said we got swept, and then they went on one. He was on Nashville 2 seasons ago, and they have swept Nashville on their way to winning the Stanley Cup. But I mean, he doesn't. I mean, again, he doesn't sound like a bad dude. I mean, he just said I watched him. I was happy for him. And a lot of these guys were his teammates when he was in Colorado.
Yeah, he's not I mean, it's different scenario, but like if you're looking like at former players that are, happy for their team, and he's I don't remember. I can't remember why. I think it just there was like not enough room for him here or something. Like
it was
one or the other.
The same time, like O'Reilly didn't fit in.
Yeah.
And they had it. I want to say they almost had to choose between like McKinnon and Duchesne and O'Reilly. Yep. I don't know if the personalities was just, and obviously they made the right choice because they went on and won a Stanley Cup, and McKinnon probably will win the Hart Trophy this season as the league's MVP. So we will see what happens there. But yeah, it was cool to see that video.
Yeah, I like Matt, and I love the way I love hockey talk so much. Like the barn, those guys were mucking it up, and I still use terms like that today. I love hockey talk.
You won it in double overtime, eh?
And double overtime with the puck, eh? They just mucked it up for me, eh?
Yeah. Oh no. But yeah. So now we have a game 7 between Vancouver and Edmonton. That I think is get going tomorrow. So the Battle of Canada. I hope Vancouver wins because again, do not want to see McDavid get anywhere close to a Stanley Cup. That's why I was glad Toronto got knocked out because I'm sick of Austin Matthews. So I hope Vancouver somehow escapes that. I think it's going back to Vancouver, so they will have home ice. So it's going to be Dallas and or Edmonton or Vancouver. In the Eastern Conference, that conference finals is set. That'll be the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers. So you have Panthers with home ice. I feel like they have home ice. So there's the Panthers and the Rangers in the Eastern Conference. So that one is set, just waiting for Edmonton and Vancouver to get going. But yeah, it sucked. But at the same time, like, well, now we only have to worry about the Nuggets, at least if you are in Denver. But it would have been cool to have 2 Game 7s today. So there you go. Have you been watching, by the way, before we get out of here, have you been watching the PGA Championship? By the way,
yeah.
How about this, Matt? Scotty Scheffler joins a plethora of legends locked up in golf. So there you go. You got Tiger, you got Daly, you got Scheffler, and you got probably the GOAT in Shooter McGavin. So there you go. Welcome to the club, Scotty.
I've been watching. I watched Thursday. I watched what I could on Friday, and then I watched what I could yesterday. And I mean, the big story after yesterday was Colin Morikawa, who absolutely went insane. Xander Schauffele Thursday and Friday was staying up at the top, really holding on after he shot he shoot a 62 on Thursday, just went so low. And what we're kind of doing yesterday was moving. Friday and Saturday's considered moving day, and today we're kind of lined up in the Morikawa tees off at 2:35. Pretty much all the leaders tee off around that 2:00 time frame. So I mean, it's going to come down to it. You got the top 5 right now: Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Sahith Theegala, Shane Lowry, Victor Hovland, and my man Bryson DeChambeau, who made an eagle on the 18th last day, chipped it in or yesterday to get to 13 under to throw him up there with the leaders too. And Justin Thomas, man, he's going to make some moves. He keep an eye on him to kind of move up the leaderboard there. But yeah, I got money on DeChambeau, and actually, no, it wasn't Shoffley. No, the other guy went out. But I'm going to throw some money on Thomas today too, because I think he's a little locked in. But I'm looking at DeChambeau to kind of run up this leaderboard, make a run for it today, and we'll see what Colin Morikawa, if he can hang on. Shoffley has been there hanging around, and I want to see what Thigala can do. That dude has been playing some really, really good golf, and it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun day to watch golf. So if you're a golf fan and you enjoy watching golf, this is one of my favorite terms to watch, the PGA Championship. Go watch it. Go DeChambeau.
What about the guys? What about like a Spieth or a Koepka? They're way down the leaderboard, Matt.
They suck.
Do you see them make a run here on a Sunday?
Not with the way this course is going to set up today. The way I was watching it this morning, there's no weather, everything's going to be fine. Those guys that are up top, if Koepka and guys like that, if they want to make a comeback, they're going to have to go 10 under. They're going to have to go 10 under and to even be have a shot. And that's pretty. Koepka do it, sure, but to even have a shot, he's going to have to go low. And I don't know if those guys are going to let him go low because I think Morikawa is going to probably shoot 7 under today, maybe 5. But these guys, they're locked in. And I think we're going to see an ending score today of like 20 under, 21 under is going to win it.
Yeah, so we'll see what the leaderboard looks like at the end of today. Always fitting you get a mugshot before a major championship.
That was a wild story. I was following it while I was heading into work and while I was working, and there was Jeff Darlington at one point. I don't know if you saw any of this, but I was listening to it live. He said that he was standing there watching Scheffler get kind of cuffed, pulled out of his car, get handcuffed. And Scheffler looked at him and said, "Please help me." And then Darlington tried to intervene or tried to do something, and the police were very, very aggressive, very aggressive. And I understand, somebody just got ran over, somebody just died. And then I guess the police officer attached himself to Scheffler's car. I don't know if you heard this. Attached himself means he jumped on the car or grabbed the car and was drugged by Scheffler. So I don't know how this is going to end up for Scheffler, but they're trying to get all these charges dropped. They're not trying to do a plea bargain.
Is he playing with an ankle monitor?
Have you seen? There was
an NBA player who was playing with an ankle monitor
in
the day. I think so.
Was it Stephon Marbury? No, I'm just kidding.
It could have been, honestly.
It could have been Sebastian Telfair. Was it Sebastian Telfair?
Or Latrell Sprewell or somebody like that?
Oh, God. Latrell.
Man, look that up.
Hey,
yeah,
has he done anything today? I don't think he should get paid today in goldfish.
No.
Nope. Or donuts. What do you usually pay him in, donuts?
Yeah, he didn't get donuts either.
No donuts today. That dude's terrible. Terrible.
I'm looking it up right now. You know who it was? Oh, man. He's on the Nuggets right now, starting.
What? KCP?
Yeah, it was KCP.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now.
Yeah, when he was on the Lakers, he had an ankle monitor. That's crazy.
He might not be here next year either.
I don't know I don't know what his deal looks like, but
I don't think we're going to have Michael Porter Jr. here. I don't think Jamal Murray's going to be here. I don't think KCP is going to be here. It's going to look totally different. Even if they win the championship this year, it's going to look totally different next year.
I can see not having MPJ here, but I think I don't think they cut ties with Murray.
If they want to go for
unless they get a superstar point guard, like if somehow they get like in the Donovan Mitchell running but again, you kind of stay with, the injuries with him is kind of overwhelming. I don't know who else is out there. Again,
I mean,
remember, Matt, during this offseason when Chris Paul got traded to the Warriors, do you not remember what I said? I said I would love to see him come off the bench for the Nuggets.
yeah, and there's a possibility unless he retires this year, because you're looking. This is what I'm thinking: superstar status. I'm thinking Steph Curry. I'm thinking like a Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy? I don't know. See, you'd have to get rid of Porter for a Jimmy Butler.
Oh, it starts there with Porter. Yeah.
But
Porter's trade value
Jamal
is
Murray
tremendous.
only has one more year left on his max contract
See?
that he got, and Porter I think has 2 years.
Those are favorable too.
Here
Those
you
are
go.
favorable
By the way,
in
here it
trades.
is. Here's KCP in LA with the ankle.
Oh yeah,
brace.
that's right. That's right.
It's crazy.
And then look at them going at Valanciunas. I think you might see Valanciunas.
He would be a great option off the bench.
Because you can even spell Gordon with him. Have him and Joker on the same court at the same time. Get the hell out of here! Come on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They can play two man with him.
I don't know if you go
other.
after Steph because of his age. I think you got to go with a young budding point guard, I guess, / superstar. I don't know who else would be in that category.
Trae Young could be interesting, but I don't think you give up Jamal Murray for Trae Young.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Not even in the same.
I mean, you got
same.
And again, injuries and stuff like that. You got to look at that.
Yeah, you got it. There's going to be some point guards that are going to be like, you're going to try to wonder, or some guards, ones. I should just call them ones. But I really think if they're going to decide to go for a superstar, Murray and Porter, it starts with them getting traded.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. All right, Matt, we mentioned that the Pacers are probably going to be in the huddle tonight saying 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Who is going to say that also in Game 7 tonight?
Minnesota,
eh?
I'm going with Minnesota. And I think this game, I really want to – the way the pattern of these games have been going, I think this Denver's going to mollywop them. I really think that's
muck it up at the barn.
They're not going to muck it up at the barn. They're gonna mollywop them. They're gonna take them out. I think it's gonna be a big game. I think what I hope happens is Jamal Murray goes off for 40 plus, and I hope Joker has 18 assists. If he has between 16 and 18 assists, they blow this team out.
Yeah, that means other people are making shots. So
I hope that's the case. That's like. I don't think Nikola scored. I mean, I know they just came out of a game and he won when he was perfect, but I just don't think Nikola Jokic scoring a lot of points is good for this team. If he has those multiple assists and multiple rebounds, that's better. That's better. You saw the glass. They were dominating. It was like they doubled them up on the glass at one point. They have 30 plus rebounds into the Denver's.
And the second
it was ridiculous.
It's I don't even know what the word is. It's just it's incredible for Minnesota, their second chance points, because they get so many offensive rebounds.
So I think if Joker has like a stat line of 25, 16 and 16, let's just go with something like that. 18 and 16. Then Denver dominates this game hands down.
All right, we will see, and make sure you follow us on all social medias for if you're out and about, can't catch a game or whatever, it'll be on our social media as well. So don't forget to go to all of them, like us, follow us, whatever you want to do, subscribe as well. And once again, we're brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Car down in Colorado Springs. So go check them out if you are ever in Colorado. But that's going to do it for us here on the Wheelhouse. Make sure you go to our home base, e5280sports.com as well. Check out all the past shows, past pods, past articles as well. It is all up on our home base. But that is going to do it for us. For Matt Mascarenas, I am Michael Spillman. We will talk to you next week.